So as you all know, my name's Tracer. I was born in June 1965 to a single white mum. My mum was a little bit different though, because in 1963 she gave birth to another child that she gave away, my sister. But I'm going to tell you my story and what I know about my life, my childhood and my abuse. So my mum met my dad. His name was Nicky. That's all she knew about him. She met him in the summer of 1964. My dad was a new immigrant from South America. It seems when they first met, she was mesmerised by my father. I think it's because he was different. It's because he wasn't white and he wasn't the same as everybody else. My father was a bit of a Jack the Lad. My father had emigrated from Guyana to his family in England, and I didn't know very much about him until later on in my life. But let's for now talk about my mum and him. So their relationship apparently was very tumultuous. They were always arguing and always fighting. And I think one day mum had had enough of my dad's abuse and the way he was, and so she decided to leave him. I don't know how long she was with him, but I know that I was born the following year and she hadn't been with him very long. There wasn't a big gap between me and my first sister, so I knew that she'd met him pretty quickly after she'd given my sister away. But from the stories my adopted father told me, he abused her and he was beating her and he wasn't very kind to her. And my grandparents were very disgusted. So when she got pregnant, she had to go and live in Wales. My aunt and uncle had a converted bus. I think it was a 1957 converted Charabang bus. It was like a wooden bus with a lean-to on it. And they allowed my mum to go and stay there while she was pregnant. It was located in Granant, near Prestatyn. She was banished there out of embarrassment. She was pregnant and she was having a child to a non-white man. And if anybody knows what it was like back in the 60s, the Generation X children that were non-white didn't have a great time. Neither did the non-white people. My dad wasn't a white man, so it wasn't very popular with my family, and my dad was abusive to my mother and they didn't like it, so they made her go anyway. And that's where she stayed until I was born, and then my aunt and uncle allowed her to return and I went to live in Partington. And my mum stayed around for a year, on and off looking after me, but the responsibility was left with my uncle. Keep listening and I'm going to tell you more.